$9.79. Makes me want to try to make it myself. Just this stuff. That sounds yummy. Hey guys, welcome back to Sparkman Homestead. I am in the kitchen today. We are going to get another experiment project done. I've wanted to do this for a really long time, and it wasn't until I went to Costco recently that I discovered that this particular product had gone up so much. Like, I did not think it was that expensive. I can't remember the last time I bought it, so I don't know a very good price comparison, but for me, that price felt really expensive. So I figured if something's expensive, why don't I try to make it myself and see if I can make it, number one, better, but also number two, cheaper. Cheaper is kind of the more important part of that. So we're going to tackle to make some almond butter today and see if we can make it better than the Costco version. I did actually shop around for prices of almond butter, and everywhere was really expensive. So I had some almonds in my freezer. These are now at room temperature. I store my nuts in the freezer because nuts will go rancid. I just keep a little bit at room temperature just so that I can have them warmer for like to put on like a salad or to have as a snack. We're gonna make almond butter, but you can do peanut butter the exact same way that we're gonna do the almond. So we're just gonna do a little batch of this. I'm not gonna go and make a big batch. It's just me that eats this. I've been craving a peanut butter and jam sandwich, well, an almond butter and jam sandwich. I need to get the recipe out here and see exactly how many almonds. Okay, so 1 pound of raw almonds. These are raw almonds. I just purchased these at Costco. We get our scale turned on, and I need to change it to pounds. It's in grams. Okay, and then we need 1 pound. This is probably going to make a lot. I have a lined baking sheet, and I'm going to put the almonds on the baking sheet, and I'm just going to spread the almonds out so that they're not really overlapping each other. We're going to toast these almonds just to kind of make it like a nice roasty flavor. You don't need to roast them. I just kind of want that roasted flavor. I think it also will help kind of get the almonds a little bit soft for when we're going to blend them up. I don't know if it will or not. I've never done this before. It's an experiment. And then we have our oven set to 350. I set mine at 350 because my oven tends to not get really hot. The recipe does say 325. I'm going 350 because I know my oven, and we're gonna set it for 15 minutes. We are going to let those cook for the 15 minutes. After the 15 minutes, we're gonna take them out and let them cool for another 15 minutes. You want them, as the recipe says, to be pleasantly warm. So not burn your fingers hot. While we wait for those to cook, we are going to do another project. Because it's getting nice and cool outside, I am in my tea phase again. I mean, I drink tea year round. I really drink a lot of tea in the fall and the winter. And one of the teas that I really love is a chai tea. Whenever Steven is craving his Starbucks drinks, my go-to drink is a chai latte made with oat milk. Because I can't get my raw milk at Starbucks, I usually opt for like oat milk or almond milk. So we're gonna make a chai concentrate today. So what essentially I can do with this is just take this syrup. It's not really a syrup, it's a concentrate. So I can take this concentrate and I can make my own chai lattes at home. Save me a lot of money, and then I get my treat all the time. So we're gonna attempt to do that. Today's full of experiments. I've also not done this project, so experiment day. Alrighty, I'm trying to think how big of a pot I need. I think this pot will be good. It's a medium-sized pot. Alright, the recipe that I'm using on Pinterest, it's not like an actual recipe. It's somebody that's just kind of blogged it, and they didn't really do a recipe format. So I'm just trying to find the quantities of stuff I need. So let's go in our spice cabinet because we need to get quite a bit of seasonings to do this. Cardamom pods. Cardamom pods. I know I have cardamom pods. They're just hiding in the very back of my pantry. So we need cinnamon sticks. I know I have cardamom pods because I was going to do this a long time ago, and I bought the pods just for this project. Where are they? Maybe they're in the other cabinet. I can't find anything in this cabinet ever. I really need to organize it. You can use dried ginger or like ground ginger for this. It does say that the ginger flavor is way better if you use fresh ginger, so we're going to use somewhat fresh. It's just in the fridge, so I consider it fresh. There we are. They were hiding. I knew I bought them. We're going to get our mortar and pestle out. I actually got this free when I bought my grain mill. This came as a free gift with my grain mill, and I've not used it yet. It's going to be the perfect opportunity to use it. I was going to gift this to my daughter, but she already has one, so she doesn't need it. I have a really big one, so it's nice to have a little small one for these small little projects. So first what we need to do is we need to cut up our ginger. We need a 4-inch strip of ginger. So we're going to cut up this piece. This might be a lot of ginger, but it says to thinly slice it. It does not say anything about it being peeled, so I'm not going to waste the time and peel it. Because it is frozen, it zests really, really well when it's frozen, but we don't need it zest in this recipe. We just need it to be thinly sliced. It's going to be a little bit more difficult to slice because it's frozen. Also, freezing your ginger is a very, very good way to make your ginger last a very, very long time. I forgot I had stuff in the fridge because I wanted to make that ginger, pickled ginger with it, which I've still not made yet. Okay, let's get our almonds out. Okay, we'll let those rest for about 15 minutes. Turn the oven off. Finish cutting our ginger. Do I get that pickled ginger project done today? I might maybe try to tackle that. I don't know. Alrighty, so the only thing that we're gonna crush in here is just the cardamom. It says to lightly crush. You need 20 whole green cardigan pods to make this. I just ordered these from Azure. I know I always talk about Azure. If you are not familiar with it, I do have a link in my video description that you can use, and I believe you actually save $10 or $20 off of your first order if you've never ordered from them, if you use the link. Love that company. I'm actually picking up my order next week. Okay, so we're going to slightly crush these. What we want to do now is we want to lightly toast the seasonings. It does help bring out the essential oils, kind of like what we did with the almonds. It's really good to do that with spices though. It just kind of activates them. And opening all of these things, oh my heavens, it smells amazing. Amazing, amazing. This right here, star of anise, this is what I'm trying to say if I'm not saying it correctly. Anyways, these right here, I found a Christmas wreath made with these. I'll leave a picture right here and show you guys the inspiration for it. I don't know how expensive these are. I got these at the Amish a while ago, so they still smell pretty fresh. Oh, they smell amazing. They smell like licorice. I love it. Anyways, this decoration, I want to make that. It looks so pretty and delicate. The other thing I want to do this winter is take the cloves and poke them in the orange. It's a really good scent to have, and it's just kind of like an olden day Christmas. Kind of trying to channel Victorian Christmas this year. I love that. Okay, so we're going to turn this on to a medium-low heat just to get this cast iron hot. And once it's hot, we'll add our spices. Feels a little toasty. So we are going to add in 4 cinnamon sticks. And we're going to add in our cardamom pods that we just slightly crushed. 16 whole cloves. 4 stars of anise. And then we need 15 peppercorns. This smells heavenly. And I just have this on a medium-low. I'm not trying to cook these. I'm just trying to lightly toast them. And by cook, I mean burn. So I have 4 cups of water. I'm just going to add it to this medium stock pot. These are pretty toasty, smelling good. Turn that off, and we're going to add our spices to the water. We were actually supposed to bring the water to a boil first and then add the spices. That's okay. We're just going to move on. So we're not going to add the ginger yet. We're going to wait until this has come to a boil, and then we'll add the ginger. But if you guys want to do this the correct way as it suggests in the recipe, bring the water to a boil and then add the spices. Cover it up. It comes to a boil a lot quicker. What's the saying? A watch pot does not boil quickly. I can't remember the exact saying. Anyways, we'll cover it up. Boils quicker. Boiling now. So we'll add the ginger, and we'll turn it down also to a low so that it can simmer. It smells amazing. I don't want it to boil too much because I don't want a lot of that water to evaporate. I want to keep a lot of that water in there. In fact, I might add just a touch bit more water to this. I'm going to add another cup of water to this. Okay, we're going to simmer this for 20 minutes. So it gives us time to work on our almond butter. We're going to add our toasted walnuts to our food processor. Again, if you want to do this with peanuts, you can definitely do this with peanut. You don't have to use almond. You could even do it with a cashew as well. I was debating on doing it with cashews, but I just had a lot more almonds, and almonds are a little bit cheaper than cashews. So we're going to add a 1/4 teaspoon of salt to this. If you want to keep it salt-free, you do not need to add the salt. You can leave it out. And also, if you do not have a food processor, you can do this in a high-powered blender as well, like a Vitamix. So we're going to pulse this until it starts coming together. It does say that you have to stop and scrape down the sides throughout the whole process. So this is probably going to take about 10 minutes to get it to the consistency that we like. Right now, we're kind of like at an almond meal consistency, so we're going to keep going because, again, we want butter. Stop, and we'll scrape down the sides. It's now getting to almost a almond flour consistency. Keep going. I can hear that it's kind of changed a little bit. Let's check. Oh yeah, it's starting to get a little bit more thicker. The oils are starting to release. It's definitely starting to smell a lot more nuttier. It says that this can take up to 10 minutes. And it says if your device overheats, unplug it and let it cool before you keep going. The processor is starting to get really hot. Oop, look at it, starting to come together. We're gonna let this go for a little bit more, and then we're gonna add our oil and our honey into this. Again, you don't need to add the honey, but I wanna have it just like a little sweet. It's starting to really thicken up, or not thicken up, but smooth out. Okay, I wanna check and see, oh yeah. It's nice and smooth, so we're gonna add our honey and our oil now. So it says optional 1 to 2 tablespoons of oil. So we're gonna start with 1 tablespoon, and I'm just using an avocado oil. And then 1 to 2 tablespoons of sweetener. So I'm gonna use honey. You can also use sugar in this. So I'm gonna start with a tablespoon of each of these and see how the texture is. I think we're gonna add more oil to this because it's still not where I want it to be. It's chunky, so we need to add a little bit more oil, I think, to this. And then keep it going. Let's give it a taste test and see if we like the sweetness though. Yeah, I think it's fine, but we will add more oil. We'll add another tablespoon of this. And then we'll let it go again, probably for another 10 minutes. I think we're there. Nope, just a little bit more. It's still a little bit grainy. It does say that it will get this way after you add the sweetener and the oil, but then it will come back to a runny consistency. It says it will seize up first. So we just gotta, maybe I would say 3 more minutes. I don't know how much more my food processor can take. It's very, very hot right now. I'm hoping it doesn't overheat. If you're using a Vitamix, this might not take this long because I think a Vitamix is a lot more high powered than this is. I can hear it kind of changed a little bit. It is getting smooth, but it's still a little grainy. Go a little bit longer. I don't know how smooth it's gonna get to. I think that's good enough. Look at that. I think that's good enough. My poor thing is going to overheat. And then I have a quart-sized jar. We're going to get the peanut butter, or not peanut butter, almond butter poured into our jar. We made almond butter. Oh, that's hot. This stuff tastes amazing. I have never had almond butter taste this yummy before. Love it. So I just love to be able to make stuff myself without having to just rely on always having to go to the grocery store. Plus, stuff fluctuates all the time. Now, I know I have to buy the nuts from the store, so I'm not completely removing myself from the store, but I'm removing like a manufacturing company because I'm just buying the nuts and making it myself. We made our own almond butter. If not saving me a trip to the store, this stuff, like I said before, tastes amazing. So good. So delicious. Look at it. I have been craving a peanut butter and jam sandwich. That is what I'm having for lunch today. Right now, I'm just going to have a spoonful of almond butter. I definitely recommend toasting the almonds because it does add that little roasted flavor to it. Hopefully I don't have peanut butter all over my face now. We're going to finish our chai tea concentrate. This has been simmering for a while. I've got 15 bags of tea bags. I showed you guys in my pantry tour that I discovered I had a whole box of my most favorite tea. So I'm going to use this tea. The recipe does suggest to use a different type of tea than what I'm using today. I will leave the name right here for you guys. If you have a loose leaf black tea, you could also use that, and you could use 4 tablespoons of the loose leaf tea. But because we're using the tea bags, we're going to use 15 tea bags. And so we're going to add it to the pot here that's been simmering for the 20 minutes. And I'm just breaking the tea bags because they come joined together. Some of this water is reduced too, so I'm glad that I added that extra cup. So I used a total of 5 cups in here. This part is completely optional, and you can use whatever sweetener you would like. You can also not even use a sweetener, but we're going to use 4 tablespoons of an organic cane juice. You could use honey as well, or you could use nothing. I'm trying to mimic the stuff I get at Starbucks, and I know that they're using sugar in that stuff. So I'm trying to get it as close to that taste as possible. We're gonna stir that in here, and we're gonna cook this for another 5 minutes. Okay, because these projects are coming along so good and we have a little bit more time, I am going to attempt to make some pickled ginger because I discovered that I had this thing of ginger in the fridge, and I know I can put it in the freezer, but I really want to get some pickled ginger in the fridge. This is a refrigerator recipe, so this is not a canning recipe. The author of this book does say that it keeps unopened in the fridge for up to 6 months. So I'm not going to make a huge batch of it. I think I am going to double it, but I'm not going to, do like 20 jars of it. So we'll get a couple pints put in the fridge so that I can have this whenever I'm eating, like, I don't know. I love pickled ginger. I would honestly just eat it by itself. I'm thinking it would be really good for the upcoming holiday season. If you're doing like a charcuterie board, you could put some pickled ginger on it with like all different types of pickles. That would be a really good idea. But it does say once it's open to eat within 4 weeks. We'll finish this chai tea, then we'll get started with slicing the ginger, and then we'll make the brine. It looks super easy to make, and we have all the ingredients to make it, so why not give it a try, right? Today we're getting all of the little projects done, which is amazing. Let's get this off the stove. This again is completely optional, but we are going to add some vanilla extract. It says you can add up to 2 teaspoons of it. You want to make sure that you're adding the vanilla extract after you take it off of the heat. If you do it while it is heating up, you're going to take some of that vanilla taste away from it. Probably just added in about 1.5 teaspoons of vanilla. I have a big measuring cup here. I'm just using a measuring cup. You can use a bowl. I just want to have it pourable. And then we have a fine mesh sieve or strainer. We're going to pour this and strain out all of the spices and the tea bags. And you want to make sure that you're using the back of a spoon and pushing all of that tea concentrate out into the stuff, into the bowl here. I might do another strain because I am getting a little bit of slivers from the cinnamon sticks. And then I'm just going to compost these. I have this jar that I'm going to use to store it in. It's just one of these flip top jars. I'm going to store it in this and then put it in the fridge. And then I'm going to get another little fine mesh strainer. Just put this on top of the funnel. We're going to try to pour it in here without making a mess. That's why I used a second strainer, because it was still had some stuff in it. There we go. We got some concentrated chai tea. Yum! So when I go to use this, I'm just going to use 1 part of this to 1 part of milk or water. And I'm probably going to heat my milk up, and I think that will get it to the closest consistency that I like. Let's give it a little taste test. Actually getting my Christmas decorations out this week, so I already have my Christmas mugs out. We'll put a little milk in it. We're gonna eyeball this. I don't know if I'm doing half and half. I have a frother. You can only find the whisk attachment. I have a frother attachment. Here it is. You could get super fancy and you could put some whipped cream on this as well and sprinkle some ground cardamom. But we're not gonna get fancy. It tastes really, really similar to what I get at Starbucks. I am impressed. We are 2 for 2 today with our recipes. Let's hope that this pickled ginger rounds it up to lucky number 3, because this is a win and this is a win. Show you guys my little mug situation here. So I found these mugs at an estate sale. I paid $2 and I got 5 of the mugs. And so I had this tea stand, this little stand here. So I'm just putting all of the Christmas mugs on here. And then at the same estate sale, they also had these cups that go with the set. And then there was 5, but I accidentally broke one washing it. But I paid $2 for 5 of those. Then on Saturday, we went thrifting, and I found something that I have had on my wish list for years. And I found this in a huge bin of utensils. So I got this ginormous Rubbermaid container full of utensils for $5, and this was sitting on the top. I have wanted one of these bread knives. Looks like this. I have wanted one of these bread knives for years, and I've just been procrastinating because they're very, very expensive. But I found this in the bin. So I took some of this stuff out. I've already sold some of it on Marketplace. I'm gonna save some of it for my daughter. Such a good day. Such a good day at Goodwill. And I found so many other things, so many good clothing brands. Found a new waffle maker, which we tested it on Sunday, and it works amazing. Yeah, so it was just a fantastic day. And I'm just feeling like we're rolling that fantastic day into today because everything's working out. I feel like I'm at Starbucks. Love it. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to get the brine started first before we start to prep our ginger, because we need to peel and slice all of our ginger. Just getting some rice wine vinegar out of my pantry. The recipe calls for 3/4 cup of a peeled sliced ginger. So we are going to do 1.5 cups. The recipe says with this brine, it makes 1 liter of brine. And for the pickle recipe, we only need 1.25 cup of the brine for it. So we're only going to do 1 batch of the brine because we will have leftovers even with doubling the ginger. I also realized that I have a whole bunch of energy right now because I'm drinking caffeine. I do not normally drink caffeine. The tea that I have in the morning is caffeine free. It's like a mushroom tea. So as soon as I get caffeine in my system, we're going to get stuff done. We're going to get it done quickly and efficiently. I'm probably going to crash as soon as this wears off. But for now, it's helping. So we're going to take our 2 cups of rice wine vinegar, add it to our pot, and then we need 2 cups of water. Add our 2 cups of water into here. While we're on a roll using sugar, we're going to add some sugar to this pot. So we're going to add 2 cups of a organic evaporated cane juice to this. You could use honey also. So we need 1/2 teaspoon of some black peppercorns. It does say that you can use black or white. I don't have white, so we're just going to use the black. I'm going to turn this on to a medium heat. Got this stuff from Azure a while ago, and I've never used it because it was hidden at the back of my pantry. Look at this. It is a fine black lava sea salt. It's literally salt, but it's black. It looked too good not to try. We're gonna add a 1/4 teaspoon of this. It just says to use a sea salt, but why not use this? Thinking in some recipes, it's not going to be very appealing to have the black sea salt. So you could probably get away with using it in something like this. But like if you're making like an Alfredo sauce, might not be the best to have black salt in there. Might look like dirt. Have this on a medium heat. So we want to stir it until the sugar is dissolved. And then we're just going to keep this warm. Okay, so let's get started on peeling our ginger. I'm not going to be too worried about getting every single speck of peeling off of it. I am a little bit of a perfectionist, but I'm trying to reel that in. So we're not going to be too concerned if there's a little bit of peelings left on it. It'll be okay. It will not kill us. It might drive me crazy, but it will not kill us. What did I say we needed? 1.5 cups. I'm wondering if I want to save these peelings and make a simple syrup with them. A ginger simple syrup would be amazing to put in cocktails during the holiday. And these peelings have quite a bit still of ginger on them. We might try to do that. I don't think I'm going to do it today because I don't want to waste them. I mean, the chickens would enjoy them, and ginger is really good for the chickens. If we had a ginger simple syrup, we could even make our own ginger ale. I think I'm hearing thunder outside. We are supposed to get rain today, but it's like 75 degrees right now. So it would make sense if there's thunder out there. I got outside this morning and I covered all of my garlic up with some straw, and I covered my strawberries up with straw. I think some colder weather is supposed to come through next week, and I just wanted to get it covered now while I have a little bit of time to do it before we get into the whole holiday season. I know I'm probably going to regret putting straw down because straw does have seeds in it. It can promote stuff to grow in your garden, but I'll just have to be really careful with making sure I pull all the little weed things I see. We got all of our ginger peeled. Took quite a bit. This is all of our scraps and just little pieces that were too small to get peeled. I am going to make a simple syrup with these. We have our slicer, and we are going to slice these gingers and try to get them as thin as possible. I have attempted to make a pickled ginger in the past, and I just took these and sliced them, and I did not get them into thin enough slices, and it was so spicy because they were too big of pieces. That's why this time I'm going to try to use this thing and see if I can get them a little bit thinner and see if it turns out a little bit better. I did not use this recipe. I was using a different recipe, and I just was not a fan of the other recipe. So we're going to try this one. And hopefully it's a little bit better. We'll save the big chunky ones, and then I'll cut these into smaller pieces with my hand. This is my least favorite kitchen tool, and I've been using it a lot lately. How thin our pieces are. That should be good. They're still pretty thick. I can't get them any thinner than that. I'm now beginning to see why I have procrastinated doing this task, because this part of it is a little bit tedious. A mixer, like my food processor, the slicing attachment also would work good for this. So the next step we're going to do is we're going to put some salt on top of this ginger. And what this salt is going to do is it's just going to help extract some of the liquid out of the ginger. So we're going to add 2 teaspoons of salt to this because we've doubled the recipe. Normally you're just going to add 1 teaspoon of salt. And then we're just going to massage the salt into the ginger. Make sure that the ginger is completely covered in salt. And then we want to cover this bowl. And then we're going to leave this for 40 minutes. We're going to get our peelings rinsed off. Give them a good rinse. Make sure if there's any dirt on them, and get that off. Ooh, it definitely looks like we have some weather coming through. We're going to add our peelings to this stock pot. We're going to add quite a bit of water into this stock pot. I would say maybe 6 to 7 cups of water. The more concentrated you want this, you're going to add less water. I think you should be good with about 7 cups. That should be enough water in there. We're going to get this put onto the stove top. We're going to bring this up to a boil. Once it gets to a boil, I am going to turn it down to a simmer, and I'm going to let this simmer for about 40 minutes. Kind of like what we did with the chai tea concentrate. We want these garlic peelings and garlic pieces to infuse this water with a delicious garlic taste. So we're going to let that probably simmer away for about 40 minutes. So I think right now what I'm going to do is make myself a almond butter and jam sandwich. I have been craving it for so long, but since I haven't had any almond butter, but I wanted to do this task first before obviously I made it. I did not want to buy that almond butter at that price. The other thing I want to add about this almond butter is it needs to be stored in the refrigerator. It was not until very recent that I found out that you are actually not supposed to store peanut butter in your cabinet. Once it is opened, it is actually supposed to be stored in the fridge. I had no clue. But then I got thinking, I'm like, well, I store my nuts in the freezer because they go rancid. This definitely will go rancid if it is stored in the cabinet. So once you make this, it does have to go into the fridge. So if you're not going to eat through a lot of it, like I'm craving it right now, so I'm probably going to have a lot of peanut butter jam sandwiches. But if you're not going to use a lot of it, then maybe half that recipe, like only use half a pound of almonds and then just make it as you need it. I don't know what the storage time for this would be once it's open. My guess is maybe 3 weeks, 4 weeks, stored in the refrigerator in an airtight container. We're getting some weather. Well, we're not getting it. It looks like over there is definitely getting it. That is some dark skies over there. I'm curious to see what the temperature is outside. Let's go and check. 74. The wind's actually not that bad. It's only 12 miles per hour. It's 74 out. Now because we've had some cold temperatures run through, 74 is beautiful outside. I mean, I think 74 normally is pretty beautiful. Get some of my freshly milled bread. This stuff is so good. I used hard white wheat and kamut flour to make this sandwich bread. So good. Need to go and get a jam. I don't have any jam in the fridge right now. We're gonna go with like an OG raspberry strawberry jam. Made this one last year, so I do need to get these eaten through. I only have 2 jars left. And I realized I had a whole bunch of strawberries in the freezer. So I'm gonna eat through this jam first and then I can make some strawberry jam during the winter. Clean the freezer out. Got my peanut butter jam sandwich with an apple for my lunch. So I'm gonna go and enjoy my lunch. This has now come to a boil, so I turned it down low. Got my timer set for about 45 minutes. We'll double check it after the 45 minutes. So that's done. We will come back and we'll finish the simple syrup and we'll finish the pickled ginger. So time to go and eat because I'm hungry. Time is up, so we get to finish our projects. I am feeling better. I ate that delicious sandwich. That almond butter, amazing. I went and grabbed some jars from my jar storage. Now these are kind of cool jars. They've been sitting in a dark closet, so they're not super warm. I'm not going to heat them up because this is at a nice room temperature and the ginger is also at a room temperature, so everything's the same. We are not canning it, so I'm not super concerned about jars breaking. As long as I'm not pouring really hot liquid into the jar, I'm not concerned with them breaking. All right, so we're gonna uncover our ginger. Doesn't look like a lot of liquid came out of it, but the recipe says to take your ginger and squeeze it. I'm getting a lot of moisture out of it. It says to squeeze the ginger. Some stuff's coming out. And then to take the ginger and put it in the jars. I'm slightly concerned because it says nothing about rinsing the salt off of the ginger. And I'm thinking that's very salty. Maybe we need the salt for the preservation. I don't know. It doesn't say anything about rinsing it. So I guess we'll just leave it. This is a new recipe for me. I'm going to do them in pint-sized jars also. You could do these in half pints. I guess it did take some of the liquid out. That's what we're left with. We're going to take our pickle brine and we are going to pour it over top of the ginger. I'm not too concerned with the headspace because we're not canning it, but the recipe does say to leave a 1/4 inch of headspace. I am just debubbling it so that I can get more brine into it because the more brine you have in it, the more pickly taste it's going to be. Normally with pickled ginger, they actually add red food coloring, we're not going to do that because it's not necessary. But if you did want that traditional pink coloring and you didn't want to use food dye, you could use some dried beet juice in here, and that would dye it that pink color. That's a natural red dye. It does not add a beet flavor to it. It's just used as a dye in this situation. This stuff is really good to add to smoothies. It does give it a little bit more of a nutritional boost. Now these need to sit in the fridge for at least 24 hours to marinate, to get them nice and pickle flavored. Then after that, you can consume them. I'm probably going to let them sit for at least a week to get nice and infused, and then I will try them. I tried to do it a couple years ago, and like I said, the recipe was not very good, and I cut them too thick, and they were really, really spicy, and I didn't enjoy them. But I think because we got a little bit of a thinner slice on these, I might enjoy these a little bit more. So we'll get those in the fridge. Now I do have some leftover brine. On the next page of this cookbook, there is actually another recipe that says you can do carrots in this brine. Exactly the same thing. You slice the carrots nice and thin, like in strips, and then you add them to this brine and you leave it in the refrigerator again for the 24 hours, and then you can eat it after. So I have a little bit here, so I might do some carrots with that also. I am going to leave this cookbook linked for you guys. This is a new cookbook that actually one of you guys recommended, and I am loving it. It is not a canning cookbook, but she is in New Zealand and she does do different canning processes than we do here in the United States. So last project to get done today is get our simple syrup made. I am going to actually can this because this is perfectly safe to can. We've been letting these scraps sit in this water for over an hour, and so the water is nice and infused now, nice and gingery. So we're going to get this strained and move on to the second step. So I have a mesh strainer sitting over top of a bowl. We're going to take our stuff and try to carefully pour it in here. Oh my gosh, this water smells amazing. Squeeze all the liquid out of here. Oopsie, you dropped a piece. No. I might have to strain it a second time. Okay, now I'm going to give these to my chickens because they will still enjoy them. I've rinsed my pot out so it's clean because we're going to reuse that. We need to measure the liquid because when making a simple syrup, you need to do 1 part liquid to 1 part sugar. This is not like a drink that you just drink like this. One way I'm hoping to use this is by making like a ginger ale by putting in some plain sparkling water with it and making my own ginger ale. So here's 4 cups of the liquid. Add that to the stock pot. You really need to make sure that you're not just eyeballing this part because it really does make a difference for sweetener. 10 cups. Okay, here's the most insane part. We're going to add 10 cups of sugar to this. Let's get this back on the stove top. Bring this up to a boil and get all that sugar stirred in. We're at a boil now, so I'm going to turn the heat down to a low. Probably take this off the heat so that it can boil down. Explained in last week's video, the electric heat does not like to just stop when you turn it down. So we're going to simmer this, just stirring it so that nothing is sticking to the bottom. You don't want any of that sugar to burn. So once we get this to a simmer, we're going to let this simmer for probably about an hour. You want it to reduce by a quarter. There's not an exact temperature that you need to do. I usually just wait until it reduces down quite a bit, and then I know it's nice and thick. Once it gets to that, usually it takes about an hour, then we can get this canned, and this is a water bath canning recipe because it is very, very high sugar. This recipe you can do with any food scraps. Like today we use the ginger scraps. I have made strawberry top syrup, so I've used the strawberry tops after I've made strawberry jam. I've used pineapple scraps. I've used lemon peels. What else have I used? Blackberry pieces I've used. I've used it all to make simple syrup. Another one of my most asked questions is, what do I do with a simple syrup? Now, I explained earlier that my hope with this ginger simple syrup is to use it to make like a ginger ale, but it would be excellent in cocktails. You could also, with the strawberry tops, even the blackberry, is you could put it back onto the stove top and reduce it another hour until you get that nice thick syrup, and you could put that on pancakes. It would be just like a regular syrup. It's such a good way to reduce food waste. I like to use every little bit of the food possible. I mean, I'm not necessarily wasting food because I'm composting scraps, which go to making soil, or I'm giving it to my chicken, which goes to making eggs. I like to use it for our consumption, so this is an excellent way. So that's going to be it for today's video. I am so excited on how that almond butter turned out. That is going to be something from now on that I am making from scratch. I don't know if it's necessarily that much cheaper to make it myself. Like, I might be saving a couple dollars, but I mean, a couple dollars is a couple dollars. But the main reason I'm going to be making it myself from now on is because it tastes way better. I have never had an almond butter that good before, so that is now something that I am going to be making myself. So glad that I finally attempted to do it. We got a lot done today. I am very happy that I got that ginger out of the fridge because that was starting to go bad, so I finally got that project done. We made a delicious Starbucks hack, which was amazing. I will come back and show you guys me canning up that simple syrup. You are going to leave ½ inch of headspace. That is a water bath canning recipe, so you are going to water bath can that for 10 minutes. Again, it is a super high sugar recipe, so it is perfectly safe to water bath can for that time. Like I said before, I've done it with all of my other simple syrups. So thank you so much for watching today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I hope you have a great day or night whenever you're watching this, and I will see you on the next video. Bye, guys.